I really don't care what happens at all. I don't care. Everybody, they tiptoe around with this social media, but what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequence.
Stop scrolling for a second, because what went down outside Teyana Taylor's house was never meant to be public. It wasn't supposed to spill into blogs, fan pages, or group chats. It wasn't meant to be dissected frame by frame or debated by strangers online. But somehow, within minutes, whispers turned into screenshots, screenshots turned into recordings, and recordings turned into a full-blown internet explosion. Late that night, people nearby noticed raised voices, tense body language, and two men, who were never supposed to cross paths like this, standing just feet apart. Pierre, Iman Shumpert. One house. One woman. One moment that changed everything. It started quietly, almost too quietly to matter at first, for months. Teyana Taylor had been laying low, doing exactly what she said she wanted to do, focusing on her work, protecting her peace, and prioritizing her child. After the very public unraveling of her marriage to Iman, she made it clear that she didn't want drama, no messy interviews, no constant online back and forth, no public sparring disguised as closure. She wanted space. But when you're Teyana Taylor, space doesn't really exist. Every move gets watched, every visitor gets noticed. Every car that slows down outside your home suddenly has meaning. Privacy becomes theoretical, not practical. That night, a familiar vehicle pulled up. Not Iman's, not family. It was Pierre. To the public, Aaron had become a quiet mystery in Teyana's orbit. Calm, supportive, low-key. He wasn't posting cryptic messages or feeding rumors. He wasn't chasing headlines. If anything, his silence made people more curious. Fans had been speculating for weeks, connecting dots between appearances, subtle social media timing, and overlapping events. Still, nothing had ever been confirmed. And maybe that's why his presence felt heavier than it should have. Neighbors noticed. Someone whispered. Someone else pulled out a phone. And before anyone fully understood what was happening, the energy shifted. What people didn't know yet was that Iman Shumpert had already been on edge that day. Court hearings, child support tension. The emotional weight of watching his family life permanently change. All of it had been piling up for a long time. Friends later said he'd been trying to hold it together publicly, but privately it was another story entirely. So when he found out or believed that Aaron was at Teyana's home, something in him snapped. This wasn't about curiosity anymore. This wasn't about coincidence. This felt personal. Too personal. Iman pulled up not long after, and the atmosphere changed immediately. The air got heavy. The kind of heavy that makes people nearby instinctively pause, like they can sense something bad is about to happen. This wasn't a casual drop by. His posture was stiff. His face wasn't relaxed. And the moment he stepped out of the car, there was no mistaking it. He was angry. Not loud yet. Not explosive. But simmering in that quiet, dangerous way that usually comes right before things go left. Aaron noticed him almost instantly. Sources say Aaron stayed calm at first, standing his ground without moving toward him. Two very different energies colliding. In the same space, one man trying to remain composed, the other carrying years of frustration, jealousy, hurt, and unfinished business. At first, it was just words, sharp words. Controlled words, the kind that cut deeper than shouting. Old emotions bubbling up in sentences that weren't meant to be polite or respectful. Iman questioned why Aaron was there, not in a curious way, but in a territorial way. As if that house still belonged to him emotionally, even if legally and romantically. Everything had changed. Aaron didn't raise his voice. That alone seemed to make things worse. Calm can feel like disrespect when someone is already boiling over. Aaron made it clear he wasn't there to provoke anything. But intentions don't always matter when emotions are raw and unresolved. Voices got louder. Neighbors stepped closer. Someone across the street started recording. That's when things stopped being private. That's when the chaos officially began. People nearby say they heard Teyana's name mentioned more than once, and not gently. This wasn't just about two men anymore. It was about access, about boundaries, about who was refusing to let go. Inside the house, Teyana reportedly heard the tension before she saw it. Imagine that moment. Standing in your own home, the place you're supposed to feel safest hearing. Raised voices outside that represent your past and your present colliding in real time. When she came out, the situation was already heated. Her expression wasn't anger at first. It was shock. The kind of shock that freezes you for a second. Before emotion catches up, she tried to step in. Tried to calm things down. Tried to de-escalate what was clearly spiraling, but when pride and pain are both in the room, logic doesn't always land. Iman wasn't just reacting to Aaron. He was reacting to the reality that things had moved on without him. That the life he once had was no longer his to control. And Aaron, whether he wanted to be or not, had become the symbol of that lost. At some point, security intervened. Accounts differ on whether there was physical contact, but multiple sources agree that it came close. Close enough to make people nervous. Close enough for someone to mention calling the police. Even the possibility of that shifted the energy slightly, but by then, the damage was already done. The moment had crossed a line. Eventually, Iman stepped back, not because he was calm, but because he knew eyes were everywhere now. Phones were out. Stories were already being typed in real time. Aaron stayed silent as he left, not looking back. And Teyana stood there, caught between two chapters of her life that refused to stay separate. Within minutes, social media exploded. Did y'all hear about Iman and Aaron? Turned into trending topics. Fan pages dissected every rumor. Clips circulated. Speculation multiplied. Some people painted Iman as a man pushed too far, still hurting, still emotionally fighting for the family he lost. Others saw him as crossing boundaries he no longer had the right to cross. Aaron was either praised for staying calm or criticized for being involved at all. And Teyana, once again, was placed at the center of a storm she never asked for. Old clips resurfaced. Interviews where Teyana talked about peace, healing, and growth suddenly felt heavier. Fans replayed past moments, searching for signs that this was coming. Some even speculated that this clash might push Aaron away for good, because no matter how strong a connection is, public chaos has a way of changing things. What hurt the most, according to people close to Teyana, was the realization that even after everything she'd been through, her boundaries still weren't being respected. That night wasn't about choosing sides. It was about her space being invaded emotionally and physically by unresolved pain she thought she'd already left behind. Iman reportedly felt regret later, not necessarily for feeling what he felt, but for how it played out publicly, loudly, and in a way that couldn't be undone. Aaron, on the other hand, went quiet. No statements, no posts, no subtle messages. And sometimes silence says more than words ever could. As the days passed, one question refused to die down. Was this the end, or just the beginning? Moments like that don't simply fade. They echo. People started wondering if that clash actually pushed Aaron closer to Teyana, seeing firsthand the emotional weight she's been carrying. Did it make him feel protective? Or did it do the opposite? Did it plant a quiet seed of doubt that made him pause and rethink what he was stepping into? Sometimes, seeing someone's past collide with their present is enough to make even the strongest feelings hesitate. And then there's Iman. Was that moment a crack in the armor he'd been wearing for years? Or was it the first time he stopped, pretending everything was fine? Fans debated whether his reaction came from jealousy, regret, unfinished grief, or simply the pain of watching someone truly move on. Because when emotions stay buried too long, they don't disappear. They explode. That night felt less like anger and more like years of unresolved feelings crashing into reality all at once. What made it hit harder was where it happened, outside Teyana Taylor's home, her safe space. The place meant for peace, not confrontation. That alone shifted the tone. This wasn't staged. This wasn't a setup. It felt raw, unplanned, and painfully real. And even after the voices dropped and the cars pulled away, the emotional residue stayed behind. You could feel it in how fans talked about it, quieter, heavier, more personal. Because when two men clash over unresolved emotions, it's really about the argument itself. It's about what was lost, about identity shifts, about fear, about watching a chapter close before you were ready to say goodbye. And in the middle of it all stood Teyana, not asking to be fought over, not asking to be questioned, just trying to live forward without being dragged backward. That's the real tension now. Not who won the argument, not who said what, but whether Teyana will finally be allowed to move forward without her past kicking the door down. Whether healing can exist without interruptions. Whether peace can be respected instead of tested, because this wasn't just a heated moment. It was a collision of old love, new realities, and futures still undecided. And when emotions collide like that, they don't disappear overnight. They linger. They resurface. They evolve. Stories like this don't fade quietly. This one is still breathing, still shifting, and very far from over.